Alright, dispelling the myths around algorithms and bots. So, this one's really important because, especially for the experienced guys, there's a very subtle hesitancy and skepticism around algorithms and bots. Because I will be honest, almost all of them are terrible, absolutely atrocious. And they're not actually based on real data which actually impacts markets. It's just a back-tested series of parameters which they've found a combination which worked during a time frame which they can use to sell to uninformed investors and traders, and unfortunately end up losing a lot of money on, getting burnt, who then write off algorithms and bots as a whole. It's a real shame because the system we've designed is based on real data that actually works. It's actually made people money. The back tests are good, but the forward tests are actually better, and it's actually legit. So this video I want to just go over getting rid of all the bullshit around algorithms and bots and making it really clear that this is a legit system. So, let me move myself. Back testing versus forward testing. The way that a scammer can trick you into thinking that his algorithm is good is by creating a back test and changing the parameters to make it look really accurate and then selling you based on the back test. You should never trust a system purely based off its back test. You need to find out, did it actually work from people implementing a live signal? If it did, great. But no one is going to show you that. No one shows you that shit because most of people with algorithms and bots and whatnot, they're all scamming you, mostly. So if you can find a system that actually shows you forward-tested results that their clients are getting, not even clients, that they're getting themselves, then you're safe to say you've very likely come across a system that you should be using. So backtesting means little to nothing because the markets are always changing and a system needs to work today, the only time profits that are able to be made. Who cares if a system worked 6 months ago because the market's different? Doesn't matter. So anyone can backtest a random set of variables and make a seemingly accurate system, right? 99% of algos are based on shitty systems and parameters and thus need forward testing to prove validity and relevance to how a market actually functions. So that's basically what I just said before. You need to forward test a system to see if it's actually a valid set of parameters which will actually work. Real data versus fake data. And let me cover back here one more thing. So the beauty of this algorithmic system is, and the beauty of you being here today, is that we've actually forward tested it for 8 months. We have 8 months of live signals, and the accuracy, the profits people made have been great. So we've forward tested. You can see the results from the charts from the previous videos that you've seen. You see that it works. So that's why this is a more trustworthy system, because we're showing you real results that people actually got, signals that people actually got. You can backtest all the signals and see them there. So that's one thing I'll add that's great about this system. Real data versus fake data. Excuse the wind if you can hear it. Real data versus fake data. As you've seen, funding is real data that actually impacts markets. Funding is a real data source that is actually impactful on the market. And 95% of algorithms work like the one pictured below. And I made this when I was 19, when I was just being an idiot. As you can see, January 2019. That was 1 year after I got into crypto, basically. And this system here is not based on real data. It's based on fake data that doesn't actually really impact on markets. So what I did was here, I took 2 moving averages, and I said, when this moving average crosses above this one, you buy, and then when it crosses below, I'll switch it around. When it crosses below, you sell. As you can see the yellow and the red line. And in a back test, wow, you took 6 trades, 5 wins, 1 loss. You started with $1,000. You now got 33 grand. Wow, this is such a great system. It's garbage. It's not real data. Just because the line's here doesn't really mean shit. Like, it doesn't really mean anything. Like, why does the price matter? Why would you follow a system that measures like a moving average? It doesn't really matter. Like, moving average crossovers are the first algorithmic system that people do generally when they make an algo, and it is the least reliable one. If it was that easy, everyone would be making money from it. So, why Verdan's profit hunter system is reliable? So, based on real data, I've said that about 100 times, that actually impacts markets. It's ultimately a sentiment analysis tool, and sentiment is the main impacting force on crypto. The perception of what people think is going to happen is super important, and crypto is really reflexive because the sentiment is super varied. People are either incredibly bearish or incredibly bullish on the future. Crypto is a very emotionally driven market because crypto is predominantly retail investors and at that new retail investors, and they're very emotional with their investing, right? Buying high, selling low. Jaw's getting sore. So the algo, this is one of the best parts. The Hunter algorithm system does not suffer from alpha decay, which means the edge doesn't disappear. So in investing in financial markets, having alpha is like having a piece of information over the rest of the market that is giving you an edge over everyone else in the market and allowing you to know something that will make you money that others don't. So the alpha of funding is we know where people are scared and we know where they're greedy, and we can use that to go against them. So the alpha doesn't decay because if funding is negative, people are bearish. There is no scenario where funding is negative and people are bullish as a whole. Never, it doesn't happen. That doesn't actually exist. So if funding is negative, people are bearish. And it doesn't matter how many people look at that piece of data, it is accurate, reliable, and it is actually what is going to affect the market. So the system is based on 2 to 3 years of deep research on one tool, which is funding, not 5 hours messing around with PineScript code. And PineScript is the TradingView coding language, I guess you'd call it, that you use to design the algorithms there. So yeah, it's based on years of research, not just me messing around, adding random moving averages to a chart. Running out of room here. Where am I going to put myself? Can I make it smaller? No. So, do the algorithms repaint signals? Short answer, no. Long answer, repainting is the process of a signal being repainted. So imagine you go in the Telegram chat and you see a buy signal come up, and then the buy signal disappears, and then it pops up again, and it disappears, and then it becomes a sell signal. That's repainting. Because repainting is a signal being sent, the data changing, and the signal being taken out because the data's changed. That's unreliable because if you buy and it changes and you have to sell, it's annoying. Like that shouldn't happen with an investing algorithm. So repainting, the short answer is no, it doesn't occur. If all the parameters are met, a signal is sent for the system on the daily open of a candle. So the parameters are based upon the information stored inside the prior daily candle. Because that candle is already finished, the information is set in stone. So I think there's a photo here. If we look here, you can see the blue and the white candle. When we close this blue candle, it closes here and it opens here. The signal is sent here at the open. So the opening candle, if your signal is sent, it's because this candle had the parameters for a buy signal. So this green line, as you can see, it's the green line that you saw prior. When price goes below, that's the parameters met for a buy signal. So as you can see, the daily candle closed here, opened here, signal sent there, based on the already determined information. Now, with that said, during the calculation process of a signal, it is advised to wait 10 to 15 seconds after the daily open to make sure all the information has been received. So in the process of sending the daily candle information from the previous day, it takes 15 seconds to get all the information. So if the information is sent and a signal is sent, wait 15 seconds just for the remainder of the information to come through, and then it's worthy. So There's a 15-second repaint period, and then it's fine. So that's the simple way to put it. And yeah, that's the video on why this system is accurate and dispelling the myths on algorithms and bots. So hope you enjoy.